Welcome back, Sebastian here. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Formula 2 feature race from the Bahrain round. So it started with Bortoleto on pole, of course the rookie in his very first feature race, Hajar P2, but it did not go to plan for either of those two drivers. So Maloney has an excellent start. He was up to P1 by the first corner. And then at the apex of turn one, Hajar is spun around by Bortoleto, just like got tapped on the rear, spins Hajar around. He's basically just his car is basically not moving in the middle of the track. O'Sullivan also got up to P2 and all of that. Bortoleto dropped down to P4. And unfortunately for Hajar, he got T-boned by Enzo Fittipaldi, who was kind of caught unaware there. Luckily it was at fairly slow speed, so it wasn't too much damage to both cars, although Fittipaldi's front wing was basically ruined. And yeah, both drivers were forced to retire from there. Behrman also stalled on the grid, so he was basically wheeled back into the pit lane and eventually got going. And because of that early safety car, because of the crash, he was able to not get lapped, so was able to stay on the lead lap there. Bortoleto was handed a 10-second time penalty for that crash, which I think is fair. It basically ended Hajar's race right there. And of course, we had the safety car out to collect the two stricken cars. So lap 5, the safety car ends. Aaron dropped a position on at turn 1 there, and Crawford overtook Hauger at P4. Moving on to lap 7. Marty overtook O'Sullivan for P2, so up into second place behind Maloney, who was driving off into the distance. And let's see, where are we? And then Correa was also in the pit lane with some kind of technical issue, and unfortunately that would not be the first technical issue for Dam's car in this race. Lap 8, Brasher overtook Miata for P7 at turn 8, so a good move there by Brasher in the Trident. Lap 9, Bortoleto overtook Hauger for turn 1 there. Lap 11, Victor Martins was the first driver into the pits, and he was actually on the hard tires, which is a bit of a surprise, given that you would expect the hard tires to last a lot longer. But it was quite strange this weekend with the tires that the F2 cars had. There didn't seem to be a massive difference in terms of longevity between the two tires, so a bit of an odd one there. And the ARTs had been struggling a lot during the sprint race with tire wear as well, so not entirely surprised that he pitted so early. Moving on to lap 12, Miata overtook Brasher at P7, so retaking the position that he lost 4 laps prior. Let's see, Taylor Barnard pits, and then he is unfortunately forced to pit again the second lap, the next lap, because one of the tires was not fitted on properly. So kind of similar to what happened to Grosjean and Magnus in Australia 2018, but somehow the tire didn't fall off completely and Barnard was able to get back to the pits. But unfortunately for him, he was kind of running just on the outside, near the bottom of the points, just outside the points. So his race was basically ruined there. Let's see, lap 14, Miata gets another position, overtakes Hauger for P6 at turn 4. Lap 15, Behrman, this was a bit of an odd one. So Behrman and Cordial made contact at the final corner. They both kind of went on very different lines. It looked like one of them was trying to pit and the other one maybe was not intending to pit. But basically they made contact there. It was a pretty hefty contact at pretty high speed, but luckily there didn't seem to be too much damage to either car. And they actually both ended up entering the pits after that. For Cordial, I think he would basically retire with, suspension damage. But Behrman was able to continue for the rest of the race. Lap 16, Brasher was given a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, pretty much a slam dunk. Lap 17, Crawford, who had been in podium position P3, actually stalled in the pit lane during his pit stop. They couldn't get it fixed and he was basically stuck. So pretty much an absolute disaster for Crawford, who was looking like he was going to have a really good race. So very unfortunate for him there. Paul Aaron gets a 5-second penalty again for speeding in the pit lane, slam dunk penalty there. Lap 18, Victor Martins was going very slowly at turn 5, and he ended up stopping kind of in the runoff area in sector 2, basically around turn 7, turn 8. They showed a replay, and when he was basically going through the first corner, the screen basically just shut off, car looked like it just died there. So yeah, not a great, pretty horrific start to the season for Martins. And yeah, getting mecha chromed in your second race is definitely not the way that he would have wanted to start the year. I think everyone else seeing that Martins was basically stopped on track knew that they had to get a pit stop in now in case there was a safety car. So the leaders all pitted. And then lap 19, however, overtook for sure for P5 at turn 4, and then right then the safety car came out. So a bit of a delay there. I think they were kind of hoping that Martins was going to be able to get the car restarted on his own, but wasn't able to get that done. So we get the safety car. Miney actually pits, and he did get a bit of an advantage there. Of course, I mean, his race was basically ruined when he got disqualified from qualifying and had to start from the back on both races. So nice to see Miney get a little bit of good luck today, and I think it really helped him in the end. Lap 21, safety car ends, and then lap 22, Miata has a pretty poor start, so I guess had a bit of trouble with getting the tires warmed up, keeping them in the right window under the safety car, because he first loses a position to Colapinto for P7, and then right after that, the first lap after the safety car, Aaron basically goes rallying off in the gravel, manages to keep his foot in, stays on, doesn't lose a position, and basically is able to get back on track fairly quickly. Then Antonelli overtook Miata as well. Bortoleto overtook Miney off track at turn 12, but because it was off track, he had to give the position back. Lap 23, Antonelli overtakes Behrman at turn 5, and there was really great racing at this point for the final points paying position. And when the chaos was kind of all said and done, let's see, Miney was P9, Bortoleto P10, and Behrman was P11. I guess Antonelli would have been P8 as well at this point. Lap 24, Antonelli overtook Mershur for P7, so showing really good pace after the safety car. Kind of a good recovery from really poor qualifying, and it seems like the issues that Prema were having were, at least kind of for now, it seems like they were stuck, were just in qualifying. So it seems like the race pace is not too bad for Prema. Lap 25, Aaron overtakes Hauger, and then Bortoleto and Miney, who are basically seem glued together on track at this point, overtake for sure. Lap 26, Miney and Bortoleto again overtake Antonelli for P7 and P8. And then Miata overtakes Versure for P10. So Versure, unfortunately, struggling a lot with the tires at this point. He was having a really good race earlier in the race before the pit stops, but I guess switching to the other tire and then the safety car really hurt his race there. Lap 27, Marty overtakes O'Sullivan for P2 at turn 4. Lap 28, Aaron overtakes O'Sullivan for P3. So O'Sullivan struggling a little bit with the tires at the end there. And then Miata overtakes Antonelli for P9. So Miata was able to recover after the tough couple of laps after the safety car came in. Lap 29, Colapinto overtakes Hauger for P5. Lap 30, Bortoleto overtakes Miney for P7. And then both drivers the following lap, lap 31, overtake Hauger for P6 and turn P7 at turn 1 and 3. Final lap of the race, Bortoleto overtakes Colapinto for P5 at turn 8. So really strong pace from Bortoleto at the end of the race, and kind of had a bit of a strong recovery after the after the kind of the contact with Hadjar at the start, and then the 10-second penalty he had to serve at his pit stop. But it was Zane Maloney who had an excellent race, dominated basically from the very beginning, moving up to the first place on the opening lap. But yeah, takes a checkered flag and takes very close to the maximum number of points for this weekend. So your final result: first Maloney, second Marty, third Elon, fourth O'Sullivan, fifth Bortoleto, sixth Colapinto, seventh Miney, eighth Hauger, ninth Miata, 10th Antonelli, 11th Durskin, 12th Villagomez, 13th Stanek, 14th for sure, 15th Behrman, and 16th Barnard. Your DNFs from this race were Crawford, Hadjar, let's see, Martins, Correa, Fittipaldi, and Cordeal. So your championship standings after the first round of the season: Maloney has a pretty big lead at this point, 36 points over Marti with 24, then Aaron with 19 in third. Bortoleto with 15 in fourth, fifth is O'Sullivan with 14, Crawford 6 with 8, Colapinto in seventh with 8 points as well, Miney in eighth place with 6 points, 10th is Hadra with 5, Miata 11th with 2, and then Antonelli, the final driver, with a point, in 12th with 1. And then that leaves for sure Durskin, let's see, Martins, Villagomez, Correa, Stanek, Behrman, Barnard, Fittipaldi, and Cordial with no points. So a bit of a strange weekend. I think the big favorites coming into this weekend, Behrman and Martins, both no points on the board, so that's going to be pretty disappointing for them. And Maloney having an excellent start. And you know, last year he was very good at this track too. I believe got a podium in the feature race. And yeah, so it's for Maloney, it's really going to be about making sure he can keep this pace consistently across the whole season and not just dominate at some tracks and really struggle at other tracks. I have to say, pretty good feature race. Definitely, the safety car definitely helped. Before the safety car, there were pretty big gaps to the field, but after the safety car, I think it brought the whole field together. And the tire difference with like the different different tires and different age of tires also really helped as well to make the racing quite good. So that's all for this weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.